Good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital, nightly strategy podcast, day before Thanksgiving, November 23rd, 2022. We'll start with Tesla, sniper trade of the day, 3 minute charts. Uh, Large gap up. There is the opening. It sells off, it closes here. The next bar it exceeds, so we end up putting a standard risk box on it, playing it to the long side. By about this point, about 5 bars in, it's cleared the departure station, if I can put it that way. And so you're able to move your stop up to no lose plus dinner for two. Able to lock in your wedge, no lose plus dinner for two. It's now a science project where you are disinterested and you're just curious to see how much money the rules that you've chosen for exit are going to yield. You'll put the results into a database. You'll study that database, look at the math, and determine how to make adjustments onto your rules in order to affect your results. And you will continue to do that. That's how we do it. At this point in the trade, you get a little consolidation zone here. As you're watching that, you're authorized to take your stop, which was here. Just raise it up underneath that, like a 2 bar low, just keep it there. And now you've locked in all of this goodness. You get that consolidation zone. The R10 wiggles and continues. And now you're at about 2R in hand. 1, 2. So you can put the 2R battle drill on it. Automatically take your second entry. By this point in the trade, you can move your stop up to here. And now you've locked in a gain on the second position. So you have 1 unit of risk. You have 1, 2 in hand from your first entry, plus the second position is in the money, and you're good to go. If you get out here, you must get back in here because you had failure to fail, and the R10 keeps moving. If you're using the PSAR, you're still good to go. I was using the PSAR. When the R10 crosses the baby dragon, penetrates the dragon, hits the PSAR, you're out. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4R for the first one, 2R for the second one. So you're about 6R to the good so far. What would we call this re-entry pattern? Kata 2, higher low. After a sell-off, PSAR flip, standard risk box. Up we go. Now, conceptually on this trade, what we've got to look at is the previous peak of the Dragon or previous peak of the RL10. And if this gets above those two, I prefer the peak of the RL10. Then it's interesting because it has made a statistical new high. And that would make this region here between the entry and the validation that the thing is moving. This region right in here is the tactical zone. And all I need to do when price is in the tactical zone is get my stop above my entry so that I can lock in my little wedge and then turn this into a science project. Check or hold. Quick loss, minus a half. Failure to follow through. I'm interested in this price level here. I could consider a short with the idea of targeting back to the congestion zone and the open entry. That would be my tactical trade to the downside. I'm still interested in any breakout to the upside. I missed the short. That was a potential short. If you take that trade, you don't lose any money. I had committed to long side only in Tesla. It was at the top of my stack. So I just retake. This is not a Kata 2 because it has lower lows and lower highs. But I treat that as a significant sell-off. In fact, it gave back half of the 6R gain. Now, that essentially a 3R adverse move. We only lost half because of our target, the targeted pattern, so we were able to not experience the full loss. So what would we call this pattern? If it's not a Kata 2, what would we call that pattern? Supported spring crossing, because we have a significant sell-off. We have the R10 bottoms out, crosses the dragon, penetrates, or crosses the baby dragon, crosses the dragon, PSAR flip. I still have plenty of room to the upside because I can take a range stat and attach it to the low of the day. And the range stat on Tesla is large. It's $15. So there's still plenty of upside room intraday. So this is correct. An SSC. So we take our standard entry, standard risk box. I take a second entry on this one. I've got some markets money to play with. It's giving me that little R10 wiggle. It couldn't even penetrate the dragon. The PSAR is holding the R10. I don't worry about little micro penetrations of price. That's noise. When it reverses from here and takes out the peak of the R10, I put the second position on using markets money. By this time, I can take my stop, which was up into here, and I can raise it up to here now. I might put it there. You decide. Good problem to have. Holds nicely. Here was an opportunity for an additional position. I was content with 2. Standard exit near the end of the day. So there's 1 unit of risk. 1, 2, 3 on the first position. Maybe 2 on the second position. So that's 5R. So we did a 6, a 5, a minus 0.5. So that's about 10 for the day in Tesla. Here's the 30-minute charts and a 10-day look back in the S&P. This is today's price action here, I should say. Closes well. This is the 5-day look back. That's the 10-day look. 10-day look back. There's 20. So this is cleared the 2 previous resistance levels and had a very strong close going into Thanksgiving. And then Friday, the market is open for a shorter period of time, a short trading day, usually low volume. I would not be surprised to see some trading shenanigans in either way. I'm not going to read too much into it from a positional point. Not carrying much risk on that. Just enjoying the intraday trade. On the daily chart now, there's our 1-day move. It was all good. Closing at 402. It's in targeting of 412 and to the upside. Got some nice support levels developing. Like if we get another move up, these rising lows and rising highs are starting to feel uppish now that we're through the election period and we've crept up into sideways. That's feeling pretty good. Longer term, we're still right in the midpoint of the 150-day look back. That's 150 days. These are your 30-day chunks. Here's the most recent 30-day chunk and 10 days. So that's how I kind of narrow my focus into our 1 day in yellow, 5 days in blue, and then 10, 20, 30. That's our 30-day look. So we're right in the middle. This is a fence sitter. Low volatility, right in the middle of the look back period. Next target, feels like we're about ready to clear that. Next target is up here at 430. If 430 breaks, look out above. It's favored by the gridlock in Congress. If we can just stop World War III, maybe there's something here. We'll know something if it can get up to 430 in the next chunk, and then what it does after 430. So tactical trading until then, we're in sideways normal condition. Here were today's sectors. Let's look at the indexes first to get a sense of what they're saying. The S&P was up 0.63. In yellow are our indexes. The best was Treasuries at 1.7. It's now up to 103. Then the Qs, tech continued to lead higher at 1%. Emerging markets at 0.82, slightly better than the U.S. The 2 laggards, the Dow and the Russell, both about 0.229, 0.26. So everything favorable up and to the right. This is all looking like broad strength and low volatility. Let's look at the what was worse. So the S&P, again, our baseline at 0.63. Here's the first cluster. Lumber, Brazil, finance, materials, and staples. These are all the defensive plays that are lagging. They were up between 0.5 and 0.3. Next cluster, Simon Property. That's commercial real estate, residential real estate, biotech, agriculture, between 0.2 and minus 0.4. There's the cut line between winners and losers on that red line. And then finally, blended commodities, oil exploration, VIX, and oil, down minus 3.6. We identified weaknesses in oil really starting 2 weeks ago. We've watched that continue to suffer, so no surprises there. Individual companies, there's Devon Energy, minus 1.2. Here is our three metals in the metals group. You got Alcoa was the worst at minus 1.7, U.S. Steel 0.6, Cliff 2%. There's Devon Energy, that's our energy special. And now if we look at our semis, we have to scroll down just a little bit. There's our semis showing clear distinction. So NVIDIA is now starting to get it back together. There's NVIDIA at 3%, Texas Instruments at 1%, Intel at minus 0.5. I think the strength is shifting to NVIDIA now that they've sort of found their support level and are bouncing. So I think I like them. Intel's had some problems among their corporate leadership that people are worried is going to slow them down as they try to develop their foundry to make chips domestically. They ran into a little problem in leadership there. So the S&P to the upside now 0.63. So we've got tech and Arcgenomics at 0.9. Wheat and precious 1%. A nice cluster here starting with Mexico at 1%. Then staples, discretionary uranium, Aussie dollar, lithium, Squarespace, FANGs, and clean energy up to 2%. ARC Innovation 2.8. Bitcoin and marijuana 4.5. Coinbase, now Kathy Wood and ARC made a huge bet on that, and it still rewarded them. It's 2 days in a row. Big gains, 5%. Still carries some weight. And Ethereum at 12%. And Tesla, our second day big stock of the day, we talked about that yesterday, making a turning movement, and then people able to buy it on sale up to 200. It's still only at 180. So anything short of 200 is going to be psychologically, it's going to feel like you're buying it on sale. It has to get back above 300 to hit former all-time highs. So you're buying it on 50% sale at these prices. Remember those numbers. Let's see. Meanwhile, Coinbase, Robinhood, Rivian, PayPal, and Microsoft all doing pretty well. Cliff and NVIDIA in the metals and semis. All right, let's take a look at the team, see how we traded today. Here's Tim with Cliff. He did the OR3 short, took the 1R hit. You can stop and reverse that right there. He waited for another risk box to get in. Second position ended up scratching, but he makes gains, gets the R10 wiggle re-entry, gets shaken out quick, a little bit slow to get back in. So there were more opportunities in here than we got, but still pretty good work for 2.4. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's not Tim. That's Kyun. My bad. Still learning his patterns. Looking good. Kyun is working on Brazil here as part of the Kata 2 challenge. I like the short. Gets paid. This is a reasonable PSAR flip. Long gets paid a little bit. I like the re-entry. This stop and reverse. I think you got shooken out. But if you do get shaken out here, which I don't regret, you've got to get this. Because this one is supposed to go back to here if this is going long. But the fact that it didn't and rolled over and hit the PSAR, you got to crush that, and then you get this trade. At worst, you get that trade. This is good. There's a Kata 2, Kata 2, Kata 2, Kata 2, all of that. And then there's your PSAR flip again. And we should be crushing this all the way down. Yeah, don't chase, but look for the signals. Failure to follow through is information. You can be short, and then your Kata 2s and PSAR flips, we gotta recognize. Be strict on the patterns. Now here's Tim with using the sniper layout and U.S. Steel. Oh, this one here where it holds support at the VWAP. So it's gap down and he gets paid. I like that. Here's the 1, 2, 3. Here's the PSAR flip. We shouldn't be losing money on that trade. When we're that far to the up, don't lose money on the trade. Then we could be short here when it crosses the VWAP instead of here, and then that's a scratch trade. And now we save 1.5 R, which is the day. Then this gets paid, and then this is okay. I think we should be short there and good scratch. And then the too choppy and directionless. Yeah, that's exactly what it does before it becomes directional. So if you've got time, will, pattern, and money, take them. Cisco, we got to work on the span of control because, gee whiz, we have identified Cisco as an incredibly strong member of tech. And if that's your risk box, that's 1, 2, 3 before we got long, just in time to get discouraged. If you don't take this one, you have to take this one on the collapse below the VWAP. And here's another collapsing dragon. So let's mark up the patterns even if we don't take them, so you get used to looking at all of the game film. Salesforce. Big gap down, a 1, 2, 3 entry is here. I like waiting for it. This is not a big index stock, so that's the clear entry. Good job, good job. I like the short. I love the stop and reverse. And I think you could take this one short on the collapse below the VWAP and then scratch it and then retake it and then scratch it. That's fine. I just think there was a lot more available in here. Tesla, you should always pick Tesla. It's the most important stock in the world. And yesterday was the first hint of a turnaround after 7 days straight sell. This gap should alert you on your radar screen, and then within 5 minutes we should be able to detect this thing leaving the station, and then there's that. That thing is getting chased by every big growth stock guy that's trying to buy it on 50% sale. That's going to be the case until it gets above 200 and 250 and before it gets to 300. You heard that here. All right, let's look at the reports. And we'll go to dashboard number 1. Sideways normal. Still strong. Yeah, it's quiet going into Thanksgiving, but this is a report that you can study. Diamonds are still very strong. Tesla, Intel, Alcoa all still have ways to go. They are massively oversold. Risk Z is telling us upside is possible. I mean, look, and let me just also highlight right here. We're within 0.5% of crossing the 200-day moving average. Haven't been able to say that for a while. Wait till somebody quietly mentions that as a technical indicator, hinting the beginning of conservative growth coming back into the market. So they haven't even started buying yet. What do you think they want to buy? Tesla on 50% sale? Yes. Yes, they do. The Dow stocks, large caps, big breaks up in Cisco, still strong. JP Morgan and Coke, stealth. Tesla, big gains. Procter & Gamble making gains. Lots of dojis today. There will be some fireworks on Friday. Come on. Sorry, I seem to have getting a screen freeze right now. Mic check, we back? Okay. I just want to hit the snipers real quick. Bitcoin and LUMN still on Godzilla's. Mostly quiet across the S&P 500. Very few large volatility moves as people prepare for Thanksgiving. That's a healthy sign for Friday and for next week. So let's maybe we'll do a special one tomorrow with some favorite setups for Friday's tactical trade. There's all our standard stats looking like summer in the MACDs in the Four Seasons. And strength everywhere you look. Coke, Procter, U.S. Steel, Tesla, those things are going to, Cisco, those are all going to do well on Friday, I think. Good trading vehicles. All right, that's everything we got for today. Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. I missed one here on, Nolan had one on Covestro. Sorry, that somehow didn't get on the list. We're going to take a quick look at his here. There's his OR3. He takes the breakout. It doesn't work, so there's the scratch. You could take this here. It crossed the VWAP. It broke out. That's still pretty good short. Didn't take it, but could have. You could take it short here or here with a stop at the top of the dragon, which is just above the VWAP. So with a stop either like this or like this, you get that whole short, and then when it fails to fail further, 1, 2, 3 exits right about here at the edge of the dragon, we should be able to get that trade, which is about 2 units of risk. But you did get this one for 0.8, so we'll take that, and that looks pretty good. This PSAR flip, failure at the VWAP and then collapse. Gosh, do we got to get that one. Man, oh man, oh man, do we want that one. Find the mover. All right, that's everything we got for today. We'll get this published and processed. You guys have a great Thanksgiving. Pay it forward. Take good care of those around you. Good job to Japan. 100% pure belief in themselves against the juggernaut that is Germany. They look great today. And we'll see you on Thursday. See you tomorrow night.